No! God, please, no! 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 No!
Hey everyone, it's Movie Lover 120 here, and I'm here with a brand new movie review, and this movie review is going to be for the fourth standalone film in this franchise, and so far what is the final one to be released for now until that Prey prequel comes out. And that is going to be for none other than 2018's infamous one, The Fucking Predator. Or as I call this thing, the Predator 2018. Caramba. Let's just do this. What's the plot of this thing? Well, from the outer reaches of space to the small town streets of suburbia, the hunt comes home. The universe's most lethal hunters are stronger, smarter, and deadlier than ever before, having genetically upgraded themselves with DNA from other species. When a boy accidentally triggers their return to Earth, only a ragtag crew of ex-soldiers, one of them being his dad, and the evolutionary biologist can prevent the end of the human race. Yep. So, after the great Predators saved the franchise, talks for a sequel to Predators began. But sadly, it never happened. And instead, Fox greenlighted this piece of shit. And here's how it got made. In June 2014, Fox announced another Predator movie being made by Shane Black, who starred as a supporting character Rick Hawkins in the first one, was going to be directing and co-writing Fred Decker, while John Davis would produce. Davis has said that of the film that he thinks it is fresh and reimagines the franchise in a different, interesting way. February 2016, Black said that the title of the new sequel will be called The Predator. Yeah, The Predator. He has referred to the project as an event film which aims to elevate the Predator series. It's an attempt to eventize the Predator again, an attempt to make it more mysterious. Black also expressed that the film would mark a return to the intimate scale of the original film the filmmakers hoped to achieve, the same sense of wonderment and newness that Close Encounters had when that came out. What's more, Arnold Schwarzenegger was even going to reprise his role as Dutch. But since it would be a cameo, he refused, rightfully so, and knowing how this movie turned out, he had a good reason to. So the movie was released on September 14th, 2018, and how was it? While not as horribly received as the AVP movies, it flat out sucked. I first saw this and nearly walked out in theaters. When this first came out, I almost walked out because of how so bad this movie was. But I stayed and watched the whole thing because I was with a relative, so I went back and watched the entire thing. Plus, that relative was my ride home, so I went back into the theater after standing in the bathroom for quite a bit of time to sit through the rest of this. I hate this so bad. I never saw this movie again. Sadly, in order to review the film, I rewatched it recently and bought this Blu-ray recently so I could rewatch it. And guess what? It still sucks ass. And here's why. They made the Predators this race of sophisticated alien hunters who hunted for the sole purpose of finding honor and sport in order to catch the most worthy prey into generic alien invaders, or basically, and even pussy alien invaders who collect DNA, because they hardly kill in this movie. And how the heck would taking autism from a young boy help evolve their race? Sorry, what? And it's mentioned that Quinn's mother got full custody of the aforementioned child, even though she literally threatens to cut her child over something so minor. Such a thing would be unwarranted. And the movie can't even decide whether it wants to be a serious horror thriller movie or a comedic action film. In fact, this feels like a parody film at times and doesn't mix well at all. Well, and most of the characters in this movie are unlikable, cartoonish, and over the top. Remember the badass characters we get like the first film and Predators, and to some degree Predator 2 with Danny Glover? These characters are just annoying complete idiots in this one. It's like in the other Predator movies, the characters in Starker Tribes were more realistic and believable. In the previous 3 movies, heck, even the characters in Predator 2 were more realistic and believable. And I guess somewhat the AVP movies. The biggest example being Keegan-Michael Key's Coyle and Olivia Munn's Casey Brackett. Yeah, what are they doing in a Predator movie? What the heck was with 2010 era comedy actors getting all my favorite horror or sci-fi franchises around this era? But at least with Coyle, but at least with Coyle and Predators that killed his stupid ass. Casey Brackett doesn't die in this movie. Especially, like, there's even a certain scene where she's introduced and you think she's going to die. Like, they just saw in this beginning of this video where the Predator wakes up and slaughters the scientists researching him. Casey Brackett runs and hides in a corner, and the Predator actually finds and approaches her, and he leaves! Yeah, instead of slitting her throat, he just like, okay, bye, whatever. Yeah, that's how the scene goes. So stupid. Some very poor special effects. It looks like something that would belong in a made-for-television movie. And the action sequences are very weak and lazy compared to the rest of the Predator movies. The movie even flat-out ignores the events of the previous film, so it's basically a reboot of the series. Yeah, it seems to be advertised as another sequel, but it's not. Instead, it's literally just a reboot of the whole series, basically. You could literally just call this a remake. Yeah. And the soundtrack, while decent, is a retreat of the Alvin Silverstripe score from the first 2 films. And Sterling Brown's character, William Traeger, the film's secondary antagonist, is a very lame and pathetic villain who is nothing more than a pale imitation of Peter Keyes from the second film and lacks seriousness to the point of accidentally killing himself with the plasma caster he put on. So basically, in a way, actually, the Predators may seem like the antagonists, but because they hardly do shit in the whole movie, they're so useless in this film. Yeah, William Traeger is the antagonist. Yeah, I'm just going to put it like that. William Traeger is the real antagonist of the whole movie, not any of the Predators. The film, also, not to mention, is even full of jokes that are insufferable, cringeworthy at best, or unfunny. And intolerable and immature at worst. Most notably Coyle, saying to Thomas Jane's character Baxley, "Hey, for my vagina word video game, it'd be rated E for everyone." Oh my god. Like, who wrote this? A 13-year-old teenager? Furthermore, the forced comedy is extremely out of place. It feels like you're watching a bad episode of South Park or the Boondocks, and the upgrade Predator and augmented Super Soldier Predator looks absolutely ridiculous, and yet it replaces the regular Predator as the main threat halfway through the movie. Well, it makes sense because I'm glad it's not the actual Predator we've again introduced to, because yeah, because there's no way the real Predator is gonna get shot at by these dumb idiots. Hell no. And countless plot holes too. The biggest prime example being if the fugitive Predator's goal was to help humanity, then why did he attack and kill numerous people? Makes no sense. They're not even supposed to help humanity either. And too much time is spent trying to set up a sequel that focusing on the story. And the ending is even terrible too, and nothing more than sequel bait, which thankfully Thankfully, a sequel to this movie did not happen. It's not gonna happen because this movie bombed so hard. Shane Black initially hired a convicted sex offender as this friend of his in a role that he would be hitting on Olivia Munn. Guys, I think we know how this controversy happens, and we're not going to mention it because I really don't want to. The trailers just spoil the entire of the movie, notably feuding Predators 2, and like the bad qualities of Alien Covenant, the film totally botches the lore of the Yada Jet. And the CGI is way too cartoony for what's supposed to be a serious movie. And there's poor direction from director Shane Black, who directed Iron Man 3. Yes. And they even advertise that in the trailers. The trailers even say, from the director of Iron Man 3. No. That is not something you should be proud of at all. Especially since that's the third worst MCU movie and easily the worst Iron Man movie ever. No. Why would you even advertise something like that? That's immediately a red flag. You know this movie's gonna be shit. And it is. However, the reason this movie's nowhere near as bad as the AVP movies is because of these redeeming moments. And that would be it for the good qualities anyways. The Predators still look amazing. And the soundtrack is decent, composed by Henry Jackman, despite being a retread of Alan Silverstein's score. Some people find the opening scene good. In fact, I think the opening scene is the only good scene of the movie. Quinn, the main protagonist, played by Boyd Holbrook, and his son Rory, who is played by Jacob Tremblay, are actually the only likable characters and probably one of the only two best things of this movie as well. Probably the only tolerable characters. In fact, why couldn't the movie just be about them? Why couldn't the movie just be about both of them, not a bunch of ragtag posers who are... Yeah, not a bunch of, ragtag posers pretending to be soldiers who just do nothing but joke around and swear at each other all the time and try to act all funny and stuff. So, yeah. Just watch the opening scene of the movie, and that's it. Other than that, skip this damn thing altogether. Watch any of the first three over this movie, what I call the Halloween resurrection of the franchise. And here's how I'm going to rank The Predator.
I am going to give The Predator 2018 a 4 out of 10.
And there we go. And before I end this review series and this review, I'll sum this up quickly. The Predator characters in general are always the easiest to screw up, which is what I find when watching this whole franchise. Take a look at the alien creatures, the xenomorph creatures, or any of the other alien creatures from the alien movies. Yeah, they had 2 good first films, and they had 2 shitty sequels, 2 shitty crossovers, and 2 decent prequels, but the only thing is, at least the alien creatures were still done well. They were always the villains in every one of their movies. They were always still handled better well. They weren't anti-heroes at all. They were still the bad guys. The Predators are usually easy to screw up so many times. In Predator and Predators, they're the villains. In AVP Requiem to some degree, kind of a way, with one of the Predators at least. I mean AVP Requiem at least, not... but in Predator 2, Alien versus Predator, and then this, they've been screwed up in all of those. In Predator 2, you make him this anti-hero, or that's still kind of an antagonist, but only kills armed people. And then Alien versus Predator, you make him this hero that just randomly helps the human protagonist, Lex. And then the Predator 2018, you not only make him also somewhat of an anti-hero who kills armed people, but also just make the creatures downright pussies who get shot at by irritating comic reliefs or stereotypes or just irritating female leads that they spare. Garamba, but anyway, that being said, we are done talking about the Predator movies. It's a big relief. And I don't know what series I'm going to review next. I know I'm going to review Batman in February. But until then, that'll be it for this video. Thank you all for watching. And if you like this and want to see more, then don't forget to like, subscribe to Movie Lover 120.